Hi ninjas, welcome to the Making of Kansiime Anne here on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for coming. And okay, if you haven't subscribed, I don't know how to smile at you and tell you to subscribe again. Guys, subscribe. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. It's been a while. I've been down. I was sick, malaria, typhoid. Someone told me those are just primitive diseases. Gosh, I pray primitive mosquitoes don't access my ninjas and give you guys malaria. I really had a hard time, but I fought it, and here I am. I'm loving my hairstyle. This hair reminds me of a time when I was still a virgin. So beautiful. So today I decided to go back in time, and you'll believe it, I've never cut my hair. I've not cut my hair for like 10 years. I don't know whether it grows back into my scalp as opposed to out, but yeah, this is my hair. This is all I have. It just keeps disappointing me. They say it's black girl magic, but this kind of magic, I want the one of abracadabra. That's the magic. Anyway, welcome to my YouTube channel. Let me take you away. Sit down, let's talk on it. It's been long since you came into my arms. Oh please, let the sun shine on me. Now, previously on the Making of Kansiime Anne, I hosted my dad and my mom. And some of the highlights, some of the things that they talked about. Let me see, Mommy said I was born after 11 months, something some of my ninjas did not know. Fact, actually, as a post-mature child, I was born after 11 months. By the time I was born, my skin was actually peeling. Then I remember Daddy saying, someone asked my father if I had boyfriends when I was growing up. And my mom was so kind to remind us that I would beat the boys. I was always fighting with boys. Like, it was hard to vibe me. So, Sky, let's just continue. Sky is my boyfriend. I just pray for him sometimes. And right after my parents spilled whatever it is they spilled, my sister, Oliver Simo, is the firstborn. I happen to be with her also here in quarantine. And she's itching to get her chance to spill as many secrets as she can. And I'm scared. Well, of course I am. She's the first one. She knows everything. She knows when you started pooping, when you told your first lie. I remember actually some of my good lies growing up were taught by her, because I would be lying about her being at home when she's like worn these neon tracksuits and has jumped the gate and gone out to the club. So she can't wait to sit down, and I know you can't wait to also have her here on the Making of Kansiime Anne. For those of you who don't know what this is, I made a choice. It's quarantine. We don't know for how long Corona will be here. We don't know what will happen after Corona. No one knew Corona would come and put us all on lockdown. So I figured I've been waiting to do my biography, and I've been putting it off for a while. Not anymore. So I decided to do a video autobiography, like tell you guys stories and things I would like you to remember when I'm not here, because they'll be here on YouTube and no one should be able to tell your story but yourself. Hence, welcome to the Making of Kansiime Anne. And in today's episode, the first episode I'd done, I talked about my school life, but I just said the schools I'd gone to, the places I'd gone to, how I'd progressed through school, but I didn't give you highlights. This third episode is more about the highlights of my school life. Like, typically I'll start with nursery school. I went to Auntie Nora Nursery School. So my highlight in Auntie Nora Nursery School, I remember I acted in the Christmas play. As a very active child, I was already acting as a child. I act in the Christmas play as sheep. I mean, with all this talent that Kansiime has finally had, and has broken ribs all over the world, southwest of Sahara, northwest of Limpopo, everywhere I've gone and broken ribs. I was sheep. That's how they underutilized this talent. I was sheep doing bah! Only like the sheep that was in the manger when Jesus was being born. I have just beautiful memories. I remember I used to have like a yellowish, I wish I had pictures. I used to have a yellowish container, the one that has juice down and then they put like bread on top. I can smell the bread. Sometimes the juice would pour in the bread. I can already smell the... Yeah, no, that's a highlight from nursery. The highlight from primary, it's not one, they're like 10. Primary was like the highlight. Kavadi Primary School, I have a series of highlights. First of all, I was a very violent child. I don't know why. I used to like fighting. At break time, while others were looking for games, of course I was good at dodgeball, would skip. But at break time, while everyone was looking for games, me, I was looking for who to beat and eat their break. As like me, Anne, I was the bully. Like I would walk around and I have big, I don't even remember their names. I just remember I had security. Like these things we see in movies where they're like bad guys sitting behind you. So I remember I had a nickname, Cynthia Ruthrock. Cynthia Ruthrock is an old action female film star, who used to beat action as in kung fu. What I used to do kick, round kick. When I think about these things, I'm like, I don't know if Sky would survive it. Sky is my boyfriend. I don't know if he would survive. In my life, had he met me in primary, eh? So I was called Cynthia Ruthrock, and I'd walk around with security, beating people. I remember my big brother, Apollo Niwagaba, was of course big. I used to beat him nearly every break time. I remember they would beat me back at home. When I'd get back home, they would beat me for beating my brother at school. Of course, if he decided to beat me, he would have beaten me and finished me. As a matter of fact, there's an evening, you know those days when you, oh gosh, this is how I keep skipping, so you'll keep telling me the stories that I've missed. You know those days when you'd pray that your parents take a trip somewhere, and then you guys are just the kids and the maid at home. My parents were the kind that never used to take trips. They were always home. But there would be this one time when my mom and my dad would say they're going to the village or to check on the farm or anything, and I'm like, and then it would just be me and my brother. There's a time, that's when I realized that at school he would let me beat him in primary. I don't remember what we were fighting about. Was it a pillow in the bedroom? My brother beat me, put a pillow on my head. I even collapsed and woke up in hospital. And they told me, every time he leaves you and he lets you beat him at school, you think you can beat him. He just lets you be. So, Apollo, thank you for sparing my life. That's why I am here. Anyway, back at school, my nickname was Cynthia Ruthrock. I loved to fight. I loved watching action movies. As a matter of fact, you know those movies of PG-18, when we were young, they never used to even sneak in. Like, we wouldn't even peep Kalito like this to watch a movie of PG. When they've said it's PG, they'll be like, you guys go sleep. So whenever I would suspect that there's a PG action movie that is supposed to air, or near the airing, we used to use decks, like they've gone to the library to pick a film, I would hide under the chair in the sitting room. You know, sofa sets of those days had like a small space. I was small enough. You guys are spot about fit anyway. I was small enough. So there'd be like a portable space under the chair in the sitting room, and I would hide there earlier, like hours before anyone even thinks about it. They go to borrow a movie, I hide under the chair and wait there till they come back, look and check, where's Anne gone? And nothing, quiet. I'm under the chair sleeping, wait for them to put a movie. I just know I need to have just a angle where I can watch from. Hence, I would watch action movies and aspire to kick people all my life. I think even growing up, actually I wanted to be two things: a shopkeeper and an action film star. Because I noticed that at break time I could beat my way into anyone's break container and I would eat. Never used to carry break. We used to stay very near home, near school. They'll probably ring the bell and I run to school in time before they even finish ringing the bell. It would take me like a minute or two if I ran properly from home to school. So I couldn't carry break because it was probably necessary. They would think you'd sneak away and just eat your break and come back. So hence Cynthia Ruthrock. Then I was in the choir as early as P4, when I was in primary 4. I was in the school, primary 3, yes, to P7. I was in the school choir. Kabale Primary School was the choir to be in. We used to come to Kampala on the lorry. Banange jumping on that school lorry. Now your parents have said bye. And I would always come with certificates on best dancer, best soloist. What? Oh my God. We used to dance Chizino. You guys, I wish I had pictures. This quarantine. All the pictures are in Kabale in my village because now we are in Kampala. Anyway, choir, school choir was my highlight. I don't remember having things like boyfriends or what in primary. I think I was just busy growing. As a boy, I was seeing people getting breasts. I'm like, what is this woman doing in school? As just like a boy, always fighting. I wasn't serious in class, but somehow just passed. I was never the last, never the first. Just enjoying school. I loved the choir so much actually that the only time someone would get me to read books is if they threatened that I would not be in the choir. So I'd be like, what subject do you want me to study? How many marks do you want? Consider yourself served. And I would come with like a good 70 in a subject I don't like, just so they let me be in choir. Though my mother, in the previous episode, she tried to make it seem like I was a disciplined child. I don't know which child she remembers. I think she loves me so much right now that she forgets the hell I put her through, and God bless her soul. I don't know how someone can love me like that. only a mother anyway. I used to run away from punishment a lot. I told you my home and school were near. So sometimes when you do something naughty, when I would do something naughty and they chase me, I would run to school and pretend that by the time I leave school and come back home, mommy has already forgotten. Anyway, true to the fact, she would have forgotten. So I did it like once, twice, thrice. Like I'd run away from punishment from home and go to school. And you know, no, like after school, mommy has already forgotten. This time around, when I ran to school, she followed me. Remember Mitoka, the choir master I told you? Mitoka is the nickname in Nathan. Mitoka, the choir master I told you that used to be to beat us and pass me through the window. My mom came and told Mitoka that Anne keeps running off from punishment from home. So do me a favor, when you get a chance, after rehearsals, call her and punish her for me, because she runs away from punishment at home, otherwise she will not learn. Now, Mitoka loved to cane, so he did not need to be begged by any parent or anyone to beat anybody. So my mother asking him to beat me. Go back home, and where you come here, lie down. And I would lie down and they'd have to cane me. And it happened first, second time, said, and he gave an announcement, said, this one's mother even came and asked me to punish her. That's how stubborn she is. Thing is, when my mom told my teacher, she was angry. She just wanted me to get punished for the things I'd done at home. I don't even remember what it was. I was just too naughty that anything, I qualified to do anything. I'd break stuff. Mananga used to steal my mom's money. My mom used to keep her money in, you know, lesus. Mothers always have those, what is a lesu? I don't know how to explain it. Let me show you. I'm in my closet, yeah? I'm sure this set is in my closet, so I look around and I'm seeing clothes. A lesu is something like this, you know? Like African mothers usually wrap it around their waist. So I remember mommy used to wrap her money in the corner. Like if she's in a hurry, she used to have a shop at home, a shop for clothes. If she's in a hurry, she would wrap the money in like the corner like this, and then wear her lesu. But when guests come, she didn't want to run to go see the guests with her lesu, so she puts it out and lets it be there. And I'm like, guests, you are welcome. And I go open, if it's like a paper, the papers of like 2,000, I pick one. Now as a child, you don't even know how much it is you're stealing. At some point you live in pick more. You guys, what are these things I'm confessing? I think that tabloids are going to put a headline, Kansiime confesses to stealing and embezzling funds from her mom. But anyway, I remember that as a highlight. That must have been one of the things that they beat me for. Stealing money from mom and I would buy mandazi, donuts. Those of you who are too English. Mandazi, donuts, very oily ones, and I would put them in my pockets. And of course, I would have pockets that have maps. My God, there's a time I even used to put sugar. Guys, I would put sugar in my pocket, and in class I put a thing, and I used to sit in the nose of the teacher. Imagine you're in the nose of the teacher and the teacher is teaching, and when you're bored, you don't not have a snack at every one point. I'd put my finger in my pocket and pull it out and continue with class. I was just too stubborn. There was always a reason to beat me. So back to Mitoka beating me every day. So Mitoka beat me every day because he was instructed by my mom. My mom, on the other end, eventually forgot that she had told Mitoka to keep beating. But Mitoka, being that he loved to beat, the man beat me. So at some point I feared going to school. And I remember there's a time when, anyway, just know they beat me every day, nearly ending that time. Like every time there would be rehearsals, and rehearsals are done, and we would wake up in the morning. Daddy used to be a banker, used to work for Uganda Commercial Bank, which is currently Stanbic. So Daddy would wake up first thing in the morning, so he would be going to work, would be going to school, and would say bye, you know, like leave Daddy having breakfast, and you run out, you're like bye, and instead of going to school, you go around, use the back gate, go back to your bedroom, and hide under the bed for the whole day. Lunchtime, get out of under the bed and come and eat with everyone else. At school, you're not in the same stream, so they don't know, did Anne go to school or not? So it happened for like a week or two. I wasn't going to school. Why? Because every time I was at school, at the end of we used to have rehearsals at the end of the day, you know, drama rehearsals. So they had told my drama teacher, Mitoka, to beat me. So I didn't want to be beaten. So I didn't want to go to school. So every time they would say, we go to school, I wake up in the morning, I shower, everything, get my school bag, bye mommy, bye daddy, rotate around the house, enter from behind, and go under the bed the whole day. Only the maid knew that I was not going to school because I wanted to eat. Like, he should keep giving me snacks. Like, I was chilling under the bed for a week. Now, if you find such a child, don't you kill them and don't you beat them and kill them? That's why I'm grateful that my mother didn't kill them. We had a teacher called Laban. The man liked to beat. You know, the kind of, he was so tall. I remember Laban. You see how we have like 1, 2, 3 spaces in our fingers? Are they called spaces? Okay, I know the local language. I think for him he had like 5, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've never seen someone with such big hands. He would cane you. We used to have our schools, our classrooms didn't have a ceiling, so he was so tall that if he was beating you, he would raise his hand, and as he's bringing the hand down to beat you, the cane would touch the iron sheets. You'd literally hear like, his canes had sound effects. I remember teacher Laban used to teach SST. I don't even know why he used to beat us. I think we'd talk about districts. I was always bad with geography. You talk about districts. He had those spot questions of which districts are found in the western part of Uganda. I'm like, southern part of Uganda, southern and western. You know those random questions where the teacher comes and probably tells you 15 times what in mathematics. So Laban would come and find all kinds of reasons to beat us. Like I told you, everyone around me was becoming a girl. People were getting their menstruation periods. Others were getting breasts. And I was so flat, busy boxing boys. That's why my mom said that instead of getting a boyfriend in primary, I was busy boxing them and fighting with them. Then when I talk about high school, I went to Bweranyangi Girls School in Bushenyi, Western Uganda. And yeah, going there, really my goal was to be beautiful, because I told you in primary I was as good as like a boy, and I also wanted to grow up to be a girl with some breasts and hips and bums. And I used to have a cousin called Diana Mcha, who was in Bweranyangi and had the longest, most beautiful. I'd never seen a girl that beautiful. I was like, yo, so I think when you want to be beautiful, you go to Bweranyangi. So I went to Bweranyangi, and in S1 I was teased. And amongst the people that teased me, one of them is my very, very close friend right now. She was called Shifra. I'll just give you one name. I think by the time I got there, when I was in S1, Shifra and her friends, because most of them now I don't remember them. Shifra was one of those hot girls in school. We used to fetch water from the spring, clean water from the spring, the one that's not like in the tank, in the taps and smell. It would go down to the spring, and it was so far away in the farm. So I remember the first time they teased me, I went to the spring to fetch water. I had 2 jerrycans of 10 liters, the yellow ones. I was a mchiga, so I always fetched water in the village, so I could go and fetch water. Anyway, I get to the spring, and who is at the spring? You know, like those things of where you're walking down the corridor at school, and you say, okay, those things did happen to me as in a single school, but imagine in a mixed school, you're walking down the corridor, and there's like a group of boys, It's like there you are a girl, and you're supposed to pass. How that is like hell. Now, hell in S1 was going to the spring, and you find senior students washing from there or cleaning from there. They'd have to find something to torture you. They were already washing their clothes. They didn't want me to wash their clothes. So what Shifra and her friends suggested, they asked me, how are you? What's your name? I told them I'm Kansiime Anne. I'm staying in Nile Dome. I was staying in Nile House. So if there were Nyaji girls, they are from Nile. Woo, woo, hi. And then they asked me, are you hungry? I'm like, whoa, they are so nice. They've been asking me if I'm hungry. I'm like, yeah, not really, but yeah. What's there? And they had buns like bread, and they gave me a bun, and of course I ate it. I'm a chick. What do you mean? You've been given bread which you've not worked for. Don't ask questions, just eat it. So I got the bun and ate it. When I was done, they were like, aren't you thirsty? You must want something to drink. And they gave me a 5-liter jerrycan of spring water and told me to drink it and finish it. Guys, I walked up that hill pregnant. I even had palpitations. You know, there's a time you eat and you can literally feel that if you swallow your own saliva, your stomach will burst, like you're that full. They gave me water. I drank water. And I don't know how I carried that 20 liters I had gone to fetch from the spring back up to school. I just remember my tummy hurting so much. And you know water makes you nauseated. Anyway, that's how I was teased. But guess what? I am BFFs with Shifra as we are old now. Because it was the norm. Like, if you're in S1 and you are not teased, then you also don't get it. I'm not encouraging teasing. Meanwhile, I'm just telling my story that shaped me to be who I am. So, you know, some of the things that happen in your past don't have to define you. Like, because you suffered in the past, then you go around saying, I suffered, Yama sufala, what. Anyway, so I was teased. I remember Shifra for teasing me. She will not forgive me for saying this. Then I was really never involved in a strike, but somehow in our year, when I was in senior 4, they chased all of us. Some group burnt the staff room and they chased all of us and told us to go home. And I'm like, yo, okay, let's go home. It was the first time we were expelled, reached home. It was so, you know, in high school, if they tell you go home and you know that you've not done anything, you're so happy. Actually, in school, you're so happy to go home. Going home at school seems like a punishment when you're growing up, till you leave it and then you're like, I wish I'd taken my time and enjoyed it a little bit more. So I remember they expelled the whole school and then told us to come back to school after 2 weeks with our parents. And I went back to school with my dad. I loved my dad visiting. Whenever my dad would visit, his pocket money, you'd not know how much pocket money he'd give you. Like, the stories you have, the problems you have, equal the amount of money that you get. So you'd have to just get so creative. And then I remember Daddy would carry everything. He would get me rabbit meat. He would roast for me like a whole rabbit. That was weird. Roast like a whole hen. Get me boxes of this. I was so spoiled by my father. Very, very spoiled. And when I knew he was coming, I'd make sure my books are good. But mom, not that I don't like my mom, but whenever mommy would come to visit me, we would share the pocket money. Like, we would reach, and she also starts telling me her stories of how she has this chivina, that chivina. And you see when your dad gave me your money, it's not like I used it, but there is this thing I wanted to do, and you're looking at your mom and saying, are you kidding me? But of course she would come and then want to go to your dormitory, then look at your knicker peg, see how clean. Like, mommy was a headache. Dad was like the cool, chiller guy who wouldn't want to know those things of going to the dormitory, but then would bring you so much food, and then was smart, didn't have a lot of time to, you know, talk with people's parents. We just be like, where is your class teacher? Talk to the class teacher, how is she? You know, Daddy always got me. I think when you're growing up, you get close to Dad. But now I am like this with mommy. We're like twins. I want to tell her everything. So anyway, so they expelled us from school. One other highlight. They expelled us from Nyanji, and we went back to school 2 weeks after with our parents. I went with my dad. We had to make a line and then go and see the headmistress. I enter with my father and we sit, and the headmistress we talked to was the deputy, who was Mwesigwa by then. So Mrs. Mwesigwa used to teach us economics in HSC and used to teach, I think, commerce in O-level. Yeah. But she was the deputy anyway. A very outspoken woman. You know those teachers who would have a conversation with you kilometers away? Like, she's at the administration block, and you're like in the last dormitory up, those ends in Beyaka. As long as she can see you through, she'll be like, Kansiime Anne, daughter of Kubiryama, Chris, who has not even finished school fees. How can you be late of all the people you? Why don't you go to your class? S3, like, she would know everything. If it was possible, she'd be like, Kansiime Anne of blood group O negative. What are you doing there with your friend who got -6 in economics? Like, she had details that were just not useful. I don't know if she still has that information in her head. You know those teachers who know everything, and then on top of that, she was a deputy. How can I talk about Werenyanj and I don't talk about the choir? Where I was in the choir with Itungo Barbara, the wife of the ghetto president, Honorable Robert Chagurani, aka Bobby Wine. I was in the school choir with Martha Komicha. I was in the school choir with Nancy Maclea, Naeva Rewini, Anita Ariho, Anita Rwabarita, Rwanje Zirona, Rwanje Zishira, Chuchu, Anita Chibaravu, Penropu. Oh God, guys, if you watch this video, please just remind me of something I've forgotten so that I bring it back and just for you. I remember I would go home with at least a gift or certificate. I was very active in the school choir, but whenever there were music competitions at school, inter-house, we used to have inter-house music competitions. We used to have 12 houses. By the time I was in S1, by the time we left, that added were like 18 houses. Nile, Beaka, Ikweta, Apollo, Nganwa, but I don't remember the rest. So there were so many dormitories in school and would do inter-house competitions, and then parents would come to watch. Somehow, because my parents were in Kabale, which was about like 5 hours away, it used to be difficult for them to come for nearly everything. They would only come for visiting day. But other parents would come to watch their kids perform on inter-house competitions, and guess what? I would end up leaving the denga. I am loading. I'm so rich because I was like an active student who was in nearly everything. So I would dance and perform, and they would come and kufuwa me. For those of you who don't know, they'd come and, like, you know, throw some money, not coins, like paper money, or like come and be like, oh, thanks, gifts. I'd go back home with a report which is not so good, but so many certificates that my father would forget to beat me for the poor performance. Then, of course, as a must, I was a virgin all throughout high school. I had a boyfriend who was in Tari. So when we were in high school, single schools used to have like boyfriend schools. Like a single school like Nyanji had like a friend school, which was a single boys school, Tari school. Then there was like Mbara High School, which was with like Mary Hill. So schools would be like, would have is it Sosh? Like we're Antari Solidarity. We used to have Solidarity. So we're Nyanji and Tari were with Antari Solidarity. So I had a boyfriend, but you know, like kind of boyfriend where you just walk, like he was also from Kabale. I remember, I'll give you one name. His nickname then was Solo. But the best we would do is hold hands and walk, and you'd feel it like you're holding hands with someone, but you feel like your hair, these ends is that low. Anyway, high school ended, and then I went on to university. I already told you in the first episode that I did social sciences, Bachelor's of Arts in Social Sciences at the University of Makerere in Kampala. Whoosh, university, everything happened at university. No, actually, I got my first job in my S6 vacation, in my S6 holidays, the senior 6 holidays you get before university. I got a job within there, 2 jobs actually. I was teaching at Trinity College in Kabale. I was teaching music because I was a very good music student in S6, so in my senior 6, so I ended up teaching music at a very lower level in Kabale Trinity College. Then when I came to Kampala, I was teaching music, dance and drama to St. Lawrence Paris Palais. I used to teach them for their inter-house competitions. I used to do practicals with them. So there was a lot of performance in my blood. So I was expecting to do music at the university. Unfortunately, I didn't make it on government, and my father didn't want to pay for it. He wanted me to study something that I didn't know, and I understand, you know, but I really loved performance. But even when I went to university and was supposed to do social sciences, I was always at the music department. Always. Like I spent more time at the music department of Makerere University than the social sciences department that I was supposed to be in. Anyway, highlight. I was always at the music department at university. Meanwhile, I'm still a virgin first year, because I lost my virginity in second year at campus, second year, first semester. And that will be a story for another day, because it's so long. Just now I lost it then, and I had a boyfriend who I will tell you more about it. See how I keep leaving you cliffhangers for the next episode. Anyway, I know I've perused through school, but at the university I studied social sciences, spent most of my time at the music department, and by the time I got my degree, I'd also learned how to perform, being that I'd spent so much time. I even used to take part in the People's Theatre at the music department. Some of the lecturers at the music department used to think I was their student, to the extent that they would find me chilling in the compound and be like, who do you think you are? you're in our department, but you never come to the lectures. Time is going to come. Exams are going to come, and I'll be like, look at this one. Doesn't know I'll be here chilling. I studied from a whole other department. The university. I remember there's a lecturer who really was waiting to give me 0 in all my papers, who said, I've never seen you in my classes, yet I see you at the department. And I'm like, yeah, take your marks, because I knew I was not attending his lectures. So at campus, I used to stay in Chikumi. The first hostel I stayed in at Makerere University was Waterloo in Chikumi. I can't believe I remember. And my housemate was Anita Ariho. My roommate was Anita Ariho. Oh, we used to eat cassava and kachumbari nearly every day because that was our budget. Chikumi. Then I shifted from there and went to Dream World in Chikoni one again. Then I used to be in Dream World. Opposite was Nalika. That's where most of my friends were. And then when I was getting into the 3rd year at university, I shifted to the flats opposite Wandegea. Opposite the main gate, the Makerere main gate. They're called Wandegea flats. I used to say one flat had 3 bedrooms, and the 3 bedrooms were self-contained. So what we did, we needed to look so cool. You see, you're in 3rd year, you're about to finish. The guys that are dating you are, working guys. They can't drive into the hostel. So we decided and got ourselves, was 6 girls. And the girls I was with came from really well-to-do families. So they went to their homes and brought chairs that they don't use. This one brought a fridge that was in the store. This one brought a fan. This one brought a painting. Well, for me, I was from Cavalry, so I couldn't bring anything apart from my bags and put them in my bedroom. So being that you stay in a house with 6 girls that come from different families that are not badly off, the only way I was managing to stay with them is I was working. By then, I was teaching. I was in Theatre Factory at the National Theatre. I was doing Rock Point. I was doing voiceovers. That's the time I was really famous on radio doing voiceovers. This is going to still go on. I feel like it's gone longer than usual, but I hope it was interesting. Please ask me any questions. If there's anywhere I left you hanging, just please ask me in the comments and I'll finish the story for you. Thank you so much for watching. I know it's been long. Tell me what you want me to change. I've missed you so much. Thank you for sitting out with me and listening. I love you guys.
Let me take you away. Sit down, let's talk on it. It's been long since you came into my arms. Oh, please, let the sun shine.